Knifedope. More dope. Come and get your figs. What's up, fuckers? Your boy's back with a fresh batch of dope. Knifedope. That's right, people. The hits don't stop. I did a video last year sometime about a budget alternative to this fantastic knife you see here in front of you. This is the Urban EDC Supply F5.5, baby. Tons of different configurations to this knife. This is a Jesper Voxnäs design. This is an exclusive to Urban EDC. And I think I've owned about 3 of them in my collection at one point. This is the last one standing, and I don't anticipate getting rid of it anytime soon. Granted, this is a fantastic knife. It is a bit pricey. You know, it hovers around, depending on the configuration, as high as a little bit over 3, and I've seen it as low as about 225, give or take. This version, I think, came in at about 280. And at the time of me having this knife, I realized that I had a fantastic budget alternative. And I did a whole video on it, so I'm not going to get too deep into it, but I do want to just give you guys a refresher. It was this one, the Kizer Towser S. This one comes in at about $69, or at least it did when I first bought it. This is riding on multi-rope bearings, so same fantastic action. We've got micarta scales like we do on this version of the F5. Same fantastic ergos, even more so with the Towser because we've got this nice finger choil that's a little bit bigger than the one we see here on this F5. Same, for the most part, we've got sheep's foot blade shapes on both of them. Granted, we've got 154 cm steel here, and then we've got the M390 up there on the top. Nonetheless, this is a fantastic budget alternative to the F5. And once I did that video last year, I had always swore that I was going to do a similar video at a later point in time. And we've reached that time, goddammit. I've got 5 knives in my collection that I want to give you guys budget alternatives to. Coming in hot. First up is going to be this one, an American legend. This is the Spyderco Little Native. And very similar to the F5, there are several configurations to this knife. However, this one is my favorite. This one is the Wharncliffe version. We've got this beautiful Wharncliffe blade here in S30V steel. Nice satin finish on the blade. Actually, I might even call that a goddamn stonewash. Nonetheless, full flat grind. These are aftermarket scales. Originally, this came with black P-Apply G10. Single form of deployment, which is your cutout, utilizing Spyderco's compression lock. We've got that 50-50 finger choil, which gives us that full purchase, no refund. That is so important when trying to handle and carry these smaller, small carry knives. However, the price point on that is about $1.50. So giving you guys a good budget alternative is a recent acquisition. This is the Civivi Baby Banter. Once again, just like the Little Native, there are several configurations. This one is my favorite. Same Wharncliffe blade here. Nice flat grind. Nitro V is the steel. Beautiful stonewash finish. Slightly contoured micarta scales. Open back construction just like the Little Native. Deep carry pocket clip that is reversible, right or left hand tip up. This is a nested liner lock. Tons of room for your disengagement. We've got single form of deployment, which are thumb studs in this case, and more importantly, 50-50 finger choil. So you're able to achieve those same fantastic ergos. Granted, the little baby banter is the baby banter is a little bit smaller than the Little Native, but just as capable and far cheaper. That is the baby banter in place of the Little Native. Okay, this next one is a knife that has been long discontinued. And the only way you're going to get this is on the secondary market. Big shout out to the Queen for allowing me to purge this from her collection a few months back. This is the Christensen Maverick S non-flipper version in titanium. There was a point in time when this was a grail knife for me, so I am fortunate that I have it in the collection. Now these tend to vary in price. On the secondary, I've seen them as high as 375 and as low as 250. We've got this beautiful sheep's foot blade here in M390 steel. Wonderful belt satin finish with a nice hollow grind. We've got contoured titanium handles. This is a frame lock. We've got a pocket clip that is not deep carry, but deep enough. That is in zirconium, as well as these pivot collars, back spacer as well. There is a little bit of room to disengage that lock bar, but they did chamfer the lock bar. I got mine riding on skiffs. D10 is dialed the fuck in. She does fly out and come right back to the house. So as much as I want to recommend this knife, unfortunately, you won't be able to get it, but there is a fantastic alternative to this knife. One that I didn't even realize was so close in experience until I got this Maverick S. That is coming from WE. This is one of my favorite purchases of 2023. This is the Michael Gavko design WE hyphen. Goddamn, people, this is a fantastic knife. And as a matter of fact, right now, if this knife interests you, is the best time to buy it. They're at the cheapest they've ever been. I think they range from about as high as 220 to about 200. I think I've seen one place had them for 200. Fantastic design, fantastic ergos. We've got this 20 CV blade steel in a sheep's foot blade shape. Some may even call this a harpoon blade because of your poon right there. Nice deep hollow grind on the blade. Love their stonewash finish. We've got also contoured titanium handles, open back construction. Once again, for the most part, a deep carry pocket clip that is right hand tip up carry only. But more importantly, we've got a nice finger choil up there. So that's going to give you a much better ergonomic feel to the knife. Mine's also riding on skiffs. Same fantastic snappy detent. There you see it side by side. For the most part, I think they're about dead money. So there you see that. A little bit cheaper than the Maverick S, but definitely a lot more attainable. And that is the WE hyphen. Okay, next up, more American dope for your palate. We're looking at the American Blade Works Model 2. As a matter of fact, as the filming of this video this morning, they have just uploaded some Model 1s and Model 2s on River's Edge Cutlery's website. But if you're interested, I would advise you to move quickly because they will sell out. This one I attained a couple of months back. I'd say maybe 2.5 months back. We've got single form of deployment, which is that flipper. This one came in at $330. This is the titanium version. I had sent this over to Brian from Transparent Knives, who did a blackened titanium mod for me with a light tumble. Looks fantastic. We've got a nice flat grind on this blade. Magna cum laude, aka Magna Cut, is the steel. Titanium pocket clip is right hand tip up carry only. We've also got a titanium backspacer. However, this is a nested liner lock, so keep that in mind. I had to dial in the D10 on this when I first received it. It was really, really light. American made knife, though, I can definitely stand behind it. Considering that this is made here in the USA, all from American sourced materials, definitely can recommend it. However, there is a cheaper alternative. We're looking at the QSP Penguin Plus. In my humble opinion, I think this is the best knife that QSP has produced, or rather the best QSP branded knife. They've made some fantastic knives for other companies as an OEM, but that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about this goddamn Penguin Plus. Same fantastic Wharncliffe blade here with a nice flat grind, belt satin finish. 20 CV is the blade steel on this one. Titanium frame lock, so as opposed to the nested liner lock, this is a frame lock. This one coming in at about half the price, $150. Granted, it's not made here in the USA, but a lot of my knives are not. We've got two forms of deployment. We've got this very well done flipper tab, very snappy, and then more importantly, we've got these well placed thumb studs. Fantastic option, fantastic knife, tons of room to disengage that lock bar. Here you see it side by side. So for the most part, we are about, actually that Penguin Plus is ever so slightly bigger, but far less cheaper. That is the Penguin Plus in place of that American Blade Works Model 2. Okay, we got two more, goddammit, two more. Next up is one that you guys didn't even know I had. Just added this to the collection last night. This is the Spyderco Drunken. This was a knife that had eluded me for quite some time. I had two chances to get it. One was a big fuckery job by a knife center, which I will not elaborate on, and then I had one with a guy who I was going to trade with, but he backed out at the last minute. But finally, it's in the collection. We've got this. This is the Dmitry Sinkovich design. If you guys don't know who that is, he's a legendary Belarusian custom knife maker. He's done design collabs with Kershaw, ZT, Spyderco, and Rockstead. So you've got plenty of options to try to seek him out. But we've got this beautiful sheepsfoot blade in CPM S90V, steel of the gods, nice full flat grind on this blade, beautiful tumbled finish on the blade as well. But the real star of the show, besides the blade steel, are these ergonomic handles. The show side is a solid carbon fiber scale, and then we've got a titanium frame lock on the lock side. Both sides of the knife have got these very intricate webbing lines, hence how they came up with the name Drunken. Ergonomically, due to the nice curvature of the handle, it just melts in the hand. We've got a half-length titanium backspacer with integrated lanyard hole for the weirdos. Pocket clip is right hand tip up carry only. This is riding on washers. Buttery smooth action. Plenty of room to disengage that lock. This is also utilizing the Chris Reeve locking insert or locking mechanism, integral locking mechanism, which is basically that stainless steel lock insert. Did a nice bit of jimping and chamfering there in the lock bar. Love this goddamn knife. However, they're not cheap. That knife can be anywhere from about 460 to 500, just depending on where you're getting it at. But all this time, I had one in my collection that is a fantastic alternative to the knife, and that's this one, the Spyderco Spidey Chef. Knife so nice, I bought it twice. That's right. This is my second chef in the collection. Ended up trading one of them. But we got this also got a nice sheep's foot blade shape. Some may venture to say even a little bit of harpoon vibes to it. Nice belt satin finish. LC200N is the steel. Full titanium build here. Titanium frame lock. Also using that Chris Reeves integral locking system. Plenty of room to do your disengagement on that lock bar with tons of access. This one is also riding on washers. Same snappy detent as the Drunken. You've got that hole for your deployment. I did swap out the pocket clip and installed this Rips Garage Tech mill titanium pocket clip. Also a feature that this Spidey Chef has that the Drunken doesn't is you've got a reversible pocket clip. And for half the price, this Spidey Chef came in at $220, and it's fucking fantastic. So much so that I forgot that, I think that's really why I had stopped that pursuit of the Drunken at one point, was because I had attained the Chef, and they're very, very similar. But there's an option for you: Spidey Chef versus that Drunken. Okay, this last one is a good one. This is a knife that was loaned to me. Shout out to Duty Low, my partner in crime, one half of the Thebladecartel. This is his Protech Malibu. Now, I used to have a Protech Malibu in the collection. Actually had it modded by way of knife, but I ended up kicking it down the road, mainly because of the single form of deployment. Up until recently, I could not stand a flipper only knife. I had to have more than that. But I've had a couple that have made its way into my collection, and I can enjoy the right one, but it's got to be the right one. Now, this one is a Blade Show exclusive. One of the Blade shows he went to, this was an exclusive to that show. This one I would venture to say has got to be over 300. Usually, whenever you get these textured titanium handles, they're over 300. American made, of course. This one is in CPM Magna Cum Laude, aka Magna Cut, stainless steel pocket clip, clamshell construction on these titanium handles, using a button lock / plunge lock, which is deployed via that flipper tab. Now, for years, companies have attempted to replicate the locking mechanism and action that Protech has had on these Malibus. And fortunately for us as consumers, there are a few companies that have, in my opinion, managed to replicate it and in some cases surpass it. And I think that's what we got here today. This one is the Ferrum Forge design, rather, let me take that back. The Ferrum Forge Stinger button lock version. This is OEM by We, but it is a Ferrum Forge design. Fantastic drop point blade there in Nitro V steel. Full flat grind on the blade. Very, very thin behind the edge there. I do not have no measurements for you, but trust me, I'd never shit you. Not only that, we've got two forms of deployment. We've got this well-executed flipper tab, very, very snappy, straight drop, as well as this fuller, which is fully accessible. More importantly, we've got that generous finger choil, which does allow for the full purchase, no refund. Solid slabs of titanium, clamshell construction, if I hadn't said that already. Now, action, I would venture to say, is better than the Protech. Look at that. I mean, not to say that there's anything wrong with the Protech. It's also great, but it's, this one, this Stinger came in, I think, at $175. So there you see it up against that. It is a little bit smaller than the Malibu, but just as capable, just as enjoyable. So there you fuckers have it. 5 premium knives with alternatives for you to do. I really find enjoyment in finding alternatives to these premium knives or hard to acquire knives. I think that's very important. Granted, we all want the best things in life, but I think a lot of times people just don't realize that there are options out there, and here are 5 of them for your viewing pleasure. So at this point, I want to know, what do you fuckers think? Are you fans of any of these knives? Do you have any you'd like to recommend? Tell me all about it. Love you, mean it. Until the next time, cut something, cut someone, just don't cut yourself. Stay dangerous, fuckers!